Guten Tag. Guten Tag. Herzlich willkommen zum Deutschkurs German 1. Guten Tag. Guten Tag. Herzlich willkommen. Herzlich willkommen zum Deutschkurs German 1. Guten Tag, herzlich willkommen zum Deutschkurs German 1. Okay. Generally, you get the sense what I'm trying to say? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you understand by whatever is there on the screen or what I just said?
Welcome to German.
Day, heartiest welcome.
Good day,
Heartiest welcome
hearty welcome
to the German course German.
to the German course or to the course German 1. Yeah. So, as you see, it is once you get into the flow of a language, it is not very difficult to understand quite a bit of it. You can, if you just give yourself a little bit of, take a little bit of effort, you will find that you can understand a lot of things. Today, especially, languages are very internationalized. So you had, for example, what we have here, the entire paraphernalia, which is infotech. Infotech has changed the vocabulary of so many languages. So for example, you have the mouse. What do you do with the mouse? Click. So in English it is click, in German it is klicken, and so on and so forth. So you'll find computer is a computer, although German language has another word for computer, which is Rechner. But in today's day and age, computer is accepted as a German word. Okay, so we'll find that there are a lot of commonalities because of last, let's say, 300 years of globalization. We do have a lot of exchange between languages, and so it is not entirely foreign. When you get into a foreign language, we discover that it's not entirely foreign. Why is my phone ringing? Yeah, Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Herzlich willkommen zum Deutschkurs German 1. Don't have to repeat that. Herzlich willkommen zum Deutschkurs German 1. 1. German 1. German 1. So, with this 2 or 3 phrases, we will begin the course with a few questions. So, let's start with what you know about Germany, what you think about Germany, why you have decided to learn the German language. Very simple questions. Where is Germany?
Europe.
A little louder.
Europe.
Europe. Where in Europe?
Somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle of Europe. If you take the western and the eastern borders of Europe, what would you think would be the western border, and where would be the eastern border roughly?
Western would be England and France.
Okay. Ireland. Okay. And
Eastern Turkey.
eastern
Turkey.
who's speaking? Yeah, it would be nice if you raise your hand so that I know where to look. Yeah, Eastern?
Turkey.
Turkey, okay. Further north?
Norway.
Norway, that's really farthest north. Okay, so basically, roughly we know that, or you can take, I mean, Russia, for example, also is a Eurasian country, right? Russia is a part of it is in Europe, part of it is in Asia, so it's called a Eurasian country. Turkey, which is the city which is half in Asia, half in Europe, Istanbul. So if you take roughly this border on the eastern side, and let's say Ireland, but Iceland, and Iceland is also in Europe, right? Iceland is also counted as a European country. So isn't it further west of Ireland? Probably. Anyway, so and in this entire and to the south, where would be the border of Europe in the south?
All the Mediterranean countries, Greece, Italy.
All the what countries?
Mediterranean countries.
Mediterranean, yeah. The Mediterranean is a very important geographical marker for Europe, of course, because it is the southern border of Europe in a sense. And then the Mediterranean separates which two continents?
Europe and Africa.
Africa and Europe.
Yeah, so North African countries and the South European countries, and then the Mediterranean between them, right? So somewhere in the center of this entire landmass, you have Germany, which is quite correct. It is said to be in Central Europe, so to say. Germany is a Central European country, a little more to the west than to the east, perhaps. But yes, any idea about what are the bordering nations of Germany?
France.
What are the bordering nations of India? Let's start with that.
Bangladesh. Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, we start from the southeast. Okay, Sri Lanka, then
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh,
Bhutan.
Nepal. Bhutan.
Bangladesh, further right to Bangladesh, further
Bangladesh.
east,
Myanmar.
Myanmar, then Bhutan, Nepal, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan. So this is a ring around India. So similarly, if you try and imagine the map of Germany, then what would you get? Let's start with the northwest corner of Germany and come down southwest, south, southeast, east, northeast. What would you have around Germany?
Poland. Isn't it?
Northwest corner.
Netherlands.
Okay, let's start with Poland. Poland is towards what?
In Poland or the northeast?
No, it is towards the east of Germany. Okay, so if you start with Poland, then we can come clockwise. After Poland,
Austria.
who? Yeah,
Austria.
Austria is towards
East, right? Towards the east.
southeast. Yeah, southeast of Germany is Austria. Okay, south, southeast. Okay,
France.
put up your hands. So, yeah,
France.
France. Which side?
It's on western side. Southwest.
Yes, Germany shares its western border with one of the countries is France. Yes, and southwestern as well.
Czech Republic
Yes.
is on the east again.
On the east, Czech Republic. Okay. Any other countries that you know which lie in that vicinity, which perhaps share a border with Germany?
Slovakia is right again to the east. Is it bordering?
Slovenia.
Slovenia.
Yeah, it is more to the southeast, but Slovenia I think doesn't have a border with Germany. It has a border with Austria.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, of course. Switzerland. Where is Switzerland vis-a-vis the German landmass? South? South, southwest. South, southwest is Switzerland. So if you look at the German map, then the south is Austria from the southeast and Switzerland from the southwest. Okay, and it is a contiguous German-speaking area. So Switzerland also, a large part of Switzerland is German-speaking. Austria is of course German-speaking. So it is a contiguous land mass. Okay. Any other countries that you think have a border with Germany? Apart from France, let's say France, we've come Switzerland, France, then go further up, northwest.
Italy. Italy.
Italy is to the,
East. South.
Italy is a Mediterranean country, so south. Okay. And Italy again doesn't have a border with Germany. It's a border with Austria, yes, but not with Germany. Then, but on the west, above France, Netherlands, yes, the Netherlands and
Belgium.
Belgium has a border with Germany.
Das
Belgium.
ist Aachen. Aachen.
Aachen has a border with, yeah, so Belgium, very small corridor. Belgium, Netherlands, and to the north, one more country and then we're done with geography class. Okay.
Denmark.
Sweden.
No, Sweden it doesn't have a border, but Denmark. Yes.
Denmark.
Denmark has a border with Germany, and so you see, it is a very strategically located country actually, because it really shares a border with lots of other countries. Do you know whether Germany has a sea coast or not? You don't think it does? Okay. Anybody thinks it does? Well, it has. It has a coastline. It has a coast, and it has seaports as well. Okay. It has a lot of river ports, inland river ports, but it also has seaports. Any port city you know of Germany? Not airport. Airport city?
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. Okay. Port city? Any German ports? Which German cities do you know? Let's see.
Hamburg.
Hamburg. Hamburg is a port city. Is a big port city in Germany. Otherwise,
Munich.
Munich is not a port. Munich has an airport, but it's not a port.
Stuttgart.
No, they're inland.
Düsseldorf.
Düsseldorf has a river port. Düsseldorf doesn't have a seaport, but it's okay. So Hamburg is to the north. And where is the sea in Germany? In India, it is very simple. No, India. If you talk about Indian geography, then it is very simple. That what do we have as our northern border?
Himalayas.
The Himalayas. And as you come down south from the Himalayas, what happens? What happens to the terrain? You come down,
It gets flatter.
it gets flatter, you come down to the plains. Okay, so it is high in the north, and then the shelf, let's say, moves downwards as you come south. Then of course in the south you have other hills like the Western Ghats or the Eastern Ghats to an extent, etc. The Vindhyas in the middle, and so you have some hills, but in general the shelf is from the north to the south. When you think of Europe, there is the Mediterranean, of course, the south of Europe. What is the mountain range in Europe? Yeah, last page. Alps. And which countries would you associate with the Alps? Switzerland is first, of course. Switzerland then? That is the Bollywood effect, because Bollywood all Shah Rukh Khan's songs are basically filmed in Switzerland. That is why, and that is also in Switzerland. Also, there is a place called Interlaken, and most of our troops go to Interlaken to film songs. But anyway, Switzerland, Austria, Germany itself, France has partly some. Italy, also northern Italy is also. So, and where is, with respect to the German geography, where is all this? To the north, south, east, west? To the south. So German southern border of Germany is primarily the Alps or the mountainous region. And as you move north, it flattens out into plains. So the shelf is the reverse of what it is in India. In India, it is high in the north and the sea coast to the south. And Germany, it is high in the south, sea coast to the north. So, if you imagine the flow of the rivers in India, many of them have their origin in the Himalayas, and then they flow through the plains down to either the Bay of Bengal. All of them go to the Bay of Bengal. Very few go to the Arabian Sea, anyways. Which is the only river which goes to the Arabian Sea? Major river.
Indus.
Indus is in Pakistan. Narmada, yes, the Narmada goes into the Arabian Sea. Okay. So, but the German rivers you have to imagine which is the major German river.
Rhine. Rhine.
The Rhine, yeah, the Rhine is of course probably the most iconic German river, and the Rhine has its origins somewhere in the border of Switzerland and Germany, and then it flows northwards. It's very difficult for us to imagine that water can flow northwards, perhaps, but it flows northwards, and then of course flows into France as well, and also defines the border between some of the countries over there. Anyway, so I suppose we can easily identify the capital of Germany. No?
Berlin.
Yeah.
Berlin.
Okay. Berlin. And which part of Germany do you think Berlin is?
Northeastern.
Eastern, central, roughly. Okay, that's fine. So one of the things that we will be covering in this course also will be a little bit of history, a little bit of well, geography also will cover somewhat, but a little bit of history, a little bit of the political scenario or developments in Germany, etc. That it also will be covering alongside learning the language. I would like to ask you why. I mean, what are your impressions about Germany? What do you think about free association? When you think about Germany, what is it that you think about? Please put up your hand and say loud and clear. It should be
Industrialization. Industrialization.
okay. Industry, let's say. Industry. What kind of industry?
Automobiles.
Automobiles. Yeah. So when you say German, cars. Okay. Yeah.
Breweries, like
Breweries. See what the associations are. I mean, first is a car, then is the beer. Okay. Breweries. So basically, instead of saying industrialization, we can say cars. Germans and their cars. Okay. Instead of brewery, you can say Germans and their beer. Okay. What other associations you have with Germans, Germany, German language? Say anything. I mean, as long as it is, please use parliamentary language. That's the only condition. Okay. Don't use unparliamentary words. That's the only thing that I'm saying. Otherwise, please feel free to talk. And in fact, the more you talk, the better it is. You can't think of anything about Germany apart from cars and beer.
Ship making.
Ship making is also, yes, it is also what an important part. Although Germany was never a big naval power actually, but yes, and ship making also is in the north. There are some places where ship making used to happen. Yes.
watches, like
Watches. Okay. So so watch. Then what can we develop from there?
Mines.
What does the watch tell you? Time. Germans and their time, their punctuality. That is one of the commonly held beliefs or even prejudices about Germans and Germany. Time. Then where do you end up?
Mines. Mines.
Mines. What kind of mines?
Gold.
Coal mine. Yes. Which area? Any idea? Okay, so to the west of Germany, to the west, there are a lot of coal mining, steel and coal, of course. Steel and coal usually go together. So, steel industry and coal mines, yes. Then, go on.
So like we have rice and chapati, they have potatoes and breads.
Breads and potato, okay, that's also fine. Potato, especially, yes. Potato is another cliche about Germany. What is a cliche?
Something that's too often used.
Yeah, so it's too commonplace and it's too
Cringy.
cringy. Why do you cringe?
It's so oftenly used.
Yeah, it is because it is almost abused. So excessive use and then it has lost its meaning. That's why you cringe when you talk in cliches. Then you cringe because but yeah, we need to also come up with some cliches about Germany and German and the Germans. Now, we have, the only 2 cliches we have come up with, or 3 cliches we come up with are potatoes, beer, and cars. Others are geographical realities, etc. But what do you think about when you think about Germany? Which is the person that comes to mind? Yeah, this will be edited out. Okay.
More
Yeah,
realistic
but
one.
say at least, yeah, Hitler. Yeah. So what do we what comes to mind? When you think about Hitler, what comes to mind?
World War.
So all these things are there. No? Second World War, and so what about Second World War? What about Hitler?
Dictator.
Dictator, yes, dictator. So that is one thing. Then, but now we are moving into history. So that this again becomes not really a cliche. The cliche is of course time also. Where time, the German punctuality, or the German eating potato, or the Germans drinking beer, the Germans driving their car, or the Germans playing football. I mean, the Germans playing football is also one of the things. But German tennis stars, any tennis stars?
Zverev.
Zverev is no, not German. Anyway, Angelique Kerber. Angelique Kerber, yeah, I think people are not in tennis over here. So when we were learning German, there were huge German stars. Biggest German tennis stars, have you heard of? Any? Somebody whose record Serena Williams recently broke in terms of maximum number of singles, Grand Slam singles.
Steffi Graf.
Steffi Graf. Steffi Graf, of course, was a heartthrob when we were growing up. Then Boris Becker. Boris Becker, of course, was also one of the youngest ever Wimbledon champions. I think he became a champion at 16 or 17. He won Wimbledon. Men's, not junior. So, yeah, Boris Becker. And so we have tennis, you have football, cars, beer, etc., etc. All this put together. Why are you guys learning German? Why are you guys learning German? Now, those who have not spoken in class, please speak up.
It's used in many countries in Europe. It is spoken in many countries in Europe. That's
In which countries is actually it's a good point. Which countries is German spoken in? Apart from Germany, Austria, Switzerland. Maybe there are some German speakers in Belgium. Yeah. Then
Netherlands.
Netherlands, Dutch,
Denmark.
Danish. Actually, that's it. Primarily, German is spoken only in Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. There is, of course, small Luxembourg. There might be small minorities in Luxembourg, in Belgium. Have you heard of a country called Liechtenstein? Liechtenstein, which is locked between southwest Germany and southeast Germany and western Austria. It's a very small prince. I think Liechtenstein won't be bigger than Adyar, including IIT campus probably, that's it. Not bigger than that, that's a country. With the capital of a place called Vaduz, is the capital of Liechtenstein. So, but that's all. I mean, in the sense that German is spoken only in this one sphere. Then there are German-speaking minorities. You see, the Germans had 2 major empires, no? Germans had 2 major empires, and then their influence extended right up to which sea? Somewhere near Russia. Which? The Black Sea. The Black Sea. So all these things now will become sudden reality. Otherwise, Black Sea and all. Who talks in India about the Black Sea? Nobody talks about the Black Sea. But once you start looking at where the German rivers are flowing, for example, then geographical markers such as the North Sea, or the Baltic Sea, or the Black Sea, these become reality. Because there are German rivers that originate in the Alps in Germany and then flow eastwards. into the Black Sea. And there are rivers like the Rhine, which again originate in the same place but flow northwards. Okay. Anyway, so my question again, because it is an important language, you said. It's not spoken in too many countries, but still it has an important language. It's an important language because it is an important language because when you talk about engineering, especially, then we talk about German engineering, and German engineering, it is also an important language because it is still it is a scientifically and technologically evolved language. Okay, we don't have, for example, in the Indian languages, we don't have those many terms. We don't have that much of terminology to describe all of technology as it, because the technology developed there, and so you have the technological terms in those languages. So it is a scientifically and technologically very important language. It is the economic powerhouse of Europe. So economically, it's an important language, and it is important because all business in Germany happens in German. So it was a Freudian slip, I think. All business in Germany happens in German. So learning German is important because Germany, as an economic power, as a technological power, as a scientific research destination, is an important country. It has very high educational standards and indicators. So that is how the language becomes important. Okay, it's not that too many people speak German. I think the number of German speakers in the world might be maybe 100 million or 120 million maximum, which is 10 or 12 crores, not more than that. Anyway, any other reasons why you learning German? I mean, yes, please.
A lot of research papers are written in German.
Yes.
So that's why I think it's better to learn that language. That we can, instead of looking at the translation of that paper, we can directly read that original written.
So, because it might give you access to scientific knowledge, to research, that is one of the reasons. Other reasons why did you learn German, Shashirika?
I love languages, so I wanted to learn German because I thought it's a very old language and interesting language which has similarities to Sanskrit. So that was the reason.
But you have studied architecture, right?
Yeah.
You studied architecture and then started learning German.
Started learning German.
So,
Because
we love languages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I started learning German in school because it was offered in my class 9 instead of Marathi. It was offered, so I took it because I had scored well in Marathi and I was eligible to take German. So I took German and I just began liking learning German and I kept on learning it till I finished my PhD. So, why did you register for this course? We have another. I need some reactions. People who have not spoken. Okay, why are you learning German?
I thought it'd be cool to learn an international language.
Why don't you say that? It's cool that you're saying it, that it will be cool to learn the language. Why are you learning German?
Because I wanted to learn another language, that's why.
Yeah.
New language and it's close to English.
That we will see in the course of this semester. Why are you learning German?
New language.
New language. Anybody who's learning German, not because it's a new language.
My mom had traveled to Germany and Switzerland when she was in college, so she learned German and I also wanted to learn.
Okay. That's a wonderful reason.
Some courses in German universities are German only.
Once again?
Some courses in German universities are German only.
Yes.
Maybe. So you can communicate in German.
So you plan to go to a German university? Okay, so that you can take courses also in German. Yeah, good. Then you should say all those things. No? What are you second?
New language.
New language. Old language.
it's industry that developed countries, so if we go for any job opportunity, then it will be helpful.
Yeah, a lot of German learning. I mean, Shashirekha also teaches in something called the Goethe Institute, and the number of people learning German is increasing very fast in India because Germany is also opening up as a job destination for Indians in a big way. Yes,
A new language, that's why.
new language. That's right. Just like that,
Only that's the reason.
new language.
Primarily because of what he said, like a lot of the research papers are written in German. So, a lot of scientific research papers.
So there is some motivation to have access to those,
Yeah,
to that
yeah.
bit of knowledge which German might offer. Learning German might open up that. Yeah,
Just wanted to learn.
just one. That's actually the best reason. Okay.
Germany has some relation to this college. I just wanted to see how it's doing.
In fact, that's a very important point because it is only I think IIT Madras is the only IIT where you have a full-time professor for German. I mean, no other IIT has that. Okay. So and of course it was established in cooperation with West Germany at that time when it was established, and it is probably the only IIT that has, in a sense, nurtured the relationship with the original cooperating country, nurtured it in a big way, in very well. So yeah, there is German language learning at IIT Madras. That also is a kind of a tradition, and it's an important part of this institute.
I always wanted to learn a new language.
Okay,
So higher studies.
maybe, but not sure. Yeah,
Like to work in Germany.
we like to work in Germany. Very clear.
New language.
New language.
I want to learn new language.
Like to work in Germany.
Work in Germany. Good.
New language.
New language.
Probably very cliched at this point with your language.
New language.
I had German in 7th and 8th,
Ah.
so I wanted to build up.
Build upon it.
Build up and brush up.
Brush up. Build up. Brush up. What exactly?
Brush up on it first and then build up.
Yeah. Okay. And research papers, of course, you said. Yeah. Access research. So anyway, it's important for us to also realize why it is that we are going into this. Why is it that we want to? Because encountering a different language, and I will end today's class with this. Basically, opens up a completely new world. Because my mother tongue is Marathi. My mother tongue is Marathi. I have been taught in school in English. I have lived half my life in Hindi-speaking areas, and I have learned German since 1980. Okay, that's when I began learning German. So I'm fairly at home in all these 4 languages, but you realize that most of us Indians are also minimum bilingual. Minimum. I mean, we have a mother tongue. Hopefully, you are still familiar with what your mother tongue is, and we can communicate in that. We can understand the world through that language. It's very important. And then you learn a new language. You begin to see that the language itself shapes the world differently. And so, I'll give you one simple example of what is awaiting you when you start learning German, or the horror scenarios of learning German, is gender distinction. Okay, so if you go into English, for example, if you're sitting in the classroom, you have gender distinction in English. How many genders do we have in grammar? Which 3 genders? Genders. Masculine, feminine, neuter. 3 genders. And suppose who all would you associate here with masculine gender? Who?
People.
The male people over here. With the feminine gender, all the female people over here. And with the neuter gender, all the non-living objects over here. That will completely change in German. not entirely. The male members will also still be male. The female members will still be feminine, feminine. But all inanimate objects, they also have arbit genders in German. Okay, so for example, the ball. What is your guess? Is it masculine, feminine, neuter? Masculine. Anybody got neuter? No. Feminine?
Feminine.
Yeah, the ball is feminine. Okay, let's get that. Then you have, for example, the blackboard or the green board, the board. Masculine, feminine, neuter?
Feminine.
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 Feminine also. Okay. Then you have the ceiling.
Feminine.
Feminine.
Feminine?
Yeah.
Well, your guess is not correct. It's neuter. The floor. Masculine. Table.
Neuter.
Masculine. Book.
Feminine.
Who said neuter? Yes, book is neuter. Camera. Feminine. So, I would still be categorized as masculine. Shrishireka would still be categorized as feminine. The laptop would be masculine. The camera would be feminine. The stylus would be, I don't know.
They are still.
The stift, masculine. The ballpoint pen will be masculine. The keyboard will be feminine. The cell phone will be neuter, and so on and so forth. So, we see the gender distinction is actually wonderfully arbit. I would say wonderfully in the sense that now, since I've learned German for 40 years, I can afford to say wonderfully arbit. It causes a bit of a problem in the beginning, but there's a very simple solution to it, which is that, like we learn words in any new language, we learn the word for book. Book yani kitab, kitab yani book. Okay, or bahi yani notebook, ya kursi matlab chair. All these words we learn in a new language. We don't need to learn the gender in English. It's obvious. But in German, you just learn the gender. So when you learn the word for, let's say, the book, we don't have a book yet, but the book, you learn it as das Buch, which is neuter gender. Das Buch. When you learn the word for the ballpoint pen, okay, it's a short form. It's called a Kuli, Kuli. When you learn the word Kuli, you learn it as der Kuli, masculine. So the der will tell you it's masculine. Das Buch will tell you it is neuter. And the ball, Wand, just like you spell the magic wand, W-A-N-D, but it's pronounced Wand. Die Wand. So die, der, das. 3 gender distinctive words like the wall, the book, and the ballpoint pen. Die Wand, das Buch, der Kuli. And it's just that when you learn the vocabulary, you just learn that this way. Okay. So with that now I will stop here and just complete your registration, and I will also tell you about the textbook when we meet next time. And I will just say Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen is a standard bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Or Tschüss. Tschüss. Is also ciao. Tschüss. Okay. So Auf Wiedersehen. And you can also say Auf Wiedersehen. You can say Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.